Hello and welcome everyone. In the previous tutorials, we have discussed how we can get started with MySQL, MariaDB and even SQLite database. And in this video tutorial, we will focus on working with PostgreSQL database using Python. So we will start off this video tutorial by discussing an overview related to PostgreSQL. Then we will understand how we can establish a connection between the database in PostgreSQL and Python. And then we will also discuss how we can execute SQL queries using it. So without any further delay, let's start with the very first topic and let's understand about PostgreSQL. Now, PostgreSQL is another well-known open source commercial graded relational database management system just like PostgreSQL and MariaDB. Additionally, this PostgreSQL also supports the use of relational SQL and non-relational JSON querying. As PostgreSQL is there for the last 20 years in the market, it is one of the most stable databases. Many web applications as well as those for mobile devices and analytics utilize PostgreSQL for their main database. So next let's understand how we can get started with this PostgreSQL database. Now we can connect to PostgreSQL database from Python in variety of ways. However, using the psychopg2 is a undoubtedly one well liked and relatable PostgreSQL package. Additionally, we collaborate with PostgreSQL using this psychopg2 as it is regularly developed and support Python 3 as well as Python 2, which are the most two widely used versions of Python. Also, it is made for large multi-thread application and is thread safe. Moreover, we should always keep in mind that threads can share connections. However, to get started with PostgreSQL, first we need to download the PostgreSQL server and we also need to download this psychopg2 connector. So what I will do, I will open my browser and I will simply type download PostgreSQL and I will open the very first link, and from here I can easily download the PostgreSQL server for any of these operating systems. Now I have already downloaded it in my system, so I will quickly run the installer. So once this setup has been run, simply click on next. Then here we need to specify the installation directory. I will keep it as it is and I will click on next. Now with this PostgreSQL server, these are the some components that are going to be installed. For example, PostgreSQL server, pgadmin 4, command line tool. I will keep all these selected and click on next. Then again click on next. Next it will ask for the data directory path and I will keep that also as it is and click on next. Here we need to specify the password for the root. So I will keep a simple password and click on next. Now this is the port number on which this PostgreSQL will run. I will keep it as it is and click on next. Again I will keep the locale as it is and click on next, next, and my installation process has been started. So here our installation process has been completed. So I will simply click on finish. Now after installing this PostgreSQL, the next step is to install the psychopg2 connector, and for this let's look at this example. First we will use this pip command to install this psychopg2 package. I will run this cell and here you can see this package has been successfully installed. After this, let's look at the example and how we can establish a connection between this PostgreSQL server and the Python. So first we will import this psychopg2 package. Then we will use the connect method. Now with the connect method, we have to specify certain properties. So first we need to specify the user. So the default user for PostgreSQL is Postgres only. Then we need to specify the password. So this is the password that we have set up while installation. After that we need to specify the host. So the default host is this only. After this we also need to specify the port number. So while installation we have seen that the port number for PostgreSQL is 5432. We have specified that only. Then we use the print function to print this connector object, and once this connector object has been printed successfully, it means that we have made a successful connection. So we will print a success message and then we will simply use the close method just like our previous example to close the connection, and then we will print this close connection success message. So I will run this cell and here you can see we got certain output. So first it has returned this connection object, and here you can see the property for closed is 0. It means we have successfully made our connection. That's why this success message was also printed, connection made successfully. And after that we use the close method to close the connection, and once we use the close method, the value for closed in the object changes from 0 to 1. It means our connection has been successfully closed. That's why this success message is also printed on the console. So with this, I guess we all understand how we can make a successful connection with our PostgreSQL server and Python. Let's move forward and let's understand how we can execute queries on it. So as discussed earlier, to execute queries, we need to create a cursor. And for that we use the cursor method. So in the next example we have done that only. So first we define this connection object, then we use the cursor method to define a cursor, and with the cursor we use the execute method to execute certain SQL query. So this time what we have done, we have used this select version query to fetch the version of PostgreSQL. Now how we can return the result of this? For this, first we need to fetch the result. So to fetch the result of our cursor, we use the fetch one method. What this fetch one method will do, it will fetch the first row result and it will store that in the result variable. Then we use the print function to print the result. Now in all this process, you can see we have used try catch block to handle exceptions, and in the last we use the finally block where we have closed all the cursor and connections that we have made. Let me execute this cell, and here you can see first we made a successful connection, then we created the cursor, then we executed a query whose result is this. So PostgreSQL version is 4.5, and after executing the query we closed all the connections. So cursor is also closed and the connection that we made with our server is also closed. Now let's move forward and let's understand how we can create a database with the help of Python in PostgreSQL. So what we'll do, first we will again create a connection object. Then one thing, while executing the create database command in PostgreSQL, we need to make this command auto commit. So that's why we have written this thing, connection dot auto commit equal to true. With this we have enabled the auto commit for our server. Then we have created a cursor, then we have defined this SQL query. Now this SQL query is create database PostgreSQL. Now with this command we are going to create a database with name Python guides, and then we use the execute method to execute this SQL query. So once this SQL query has been executed, this message will be printed, that is database created, and rest things are same. Like for exception handling we have used try catch, and in the finally block we have closed all the connections which are quite important. So let me execute this cell block, and here you can see first we have made the connection successfully, then we created the cursor, then we executed the query and created our database, and then in the last we close the cursor and connection. Now what I will do, I will run the psql shell. Here I will specify the localhost, which is a localhost only, then the database is also PostgreSQL. I will keep all the things as it is. Here we need to specify the password for root. I have specified the password, and we need to use this \l command to print all the databases which are there in the PostgreSQL. So once I run this, here you can see it has returned this table where we can see this Python guides database is been there. So with the previous program we are able to successfully create a database with name Python guides. Now I hope you all understand how we can get started with this PostgreSQL server using Python. And with this we have come to the end of this tutorial session. Thank you so much for watching this video. We will see you in the next one.